If we're different, who decides the meaning of that difference? Who shall create its form, and who shall benefit from it? Common ground. How can we seek it, understand it, without slipping into talk about race?
I think that this film just represents one little personality in this infinite spectrum of Indianness. This is my 21st century Indian experience.
We would go to the same church, so we met there. But one time, I guess his family wasn't in church, but he shows up to church anyways.
And so there she was, ditching Sunday school just like I was. And she's wearing this amazing dress. And I was just like, wow, you know? So I said, you want to go for a ride? That was the first time I kissed her.
Sunday you kissed?
On Sunday, when we were supposed to be in church. So I think
lightning came down from the sky.
Velma and I became parents when we were 18 and 19. As young parents, there were many ideas and concepts about who and what we are that became important. Suddenly, we were in charge of shaping the perceptions of a future, no longer ours, but our children's. Things like race, culture, language, and tradition now mattered in a way that scared us, because we were still not comfortable with how these concepts applied to us. Or worse, how they applied to our kids, who are growing up in a world full of children whose culture or non-culture is the mainstream. Every couple of months, Velma and I pack up the kids and travel back to the town of White River on the White Mountain Apache Reservation. It was a place that we started the first years of our marriage and our family. In those years, I was beginning to feel like a part of my community. I was working for young people in my own generation and providing for my family. This is my daughter Ashley. 2 weeks after she was born, we left White River and moved to the city of Phoenix in an effort to finish college. We've been here about 4.5 years now.
I feel like what you see me as. I feel like just the typical American family. I don't really see myself as Native American until somebody else points it out to me. I don't know my language. I haven't ever been told any stories. I saw my grandparents weaving and silversmithing and that whole thing, and I've been to a couple traditional ceremonies, but I never had that, and I don't miss it. I don't regret it.
When you're outside, you adapt, but there are costs. Some of those costs I still carry with me. It's two different worlds, you know, leaving the reservation and going down to the city where you got nothing but all your friends are white kids, and you kind of adapt to both places.
I remember I was in 3rd grade, I had this teacher in school. He said, if any of you have parents who are going to let you have a gerbil, you can, go home, take this permission slip home to your parents and get a gerbil. Yeah, I came home and told Mom and Dad, and they signed my permission slip. I was so excited I was going to get a gerbil, a little baby gerbil. I got my gerbil food, I got this, I got that. And then I was like, okay, it's time to go get the cage, so we can keep the gerbil in the cage. And then Dad says, son, I'll make you your cage. And so he goes out in the back shed and he finds some old plywood and he cuts together this like a marine barrack, you know, goma pile. It looks like that. And then so he went to the hardware store and bought some mesh wire and put it over and cut out a little thing. And yeah, it was neat. I was happy that he was doing it. And then so all the kids, they came and they had nice little plastic clear gerbil cages.
Yeah.
Or little wire ones, you know. So my teacher asked me, you know, sure, do you have your cage, Dustin? I'm like, oh, I brought a shoebox, you know, my cage is at home, it's too big, you know. It's like, it's too big to bring, we got him a nice big cage at home. I hated the fact that I had to be ashamed of my dad's homemade thing. I mean, it's not like we were really poor, you know. I was just conscious of the fact that it was different. I think that's what really made me feel uncomfortable, with just the difference. To make it worse, you know, the gerbil died the next day.
I see the child I used to be in my children today. Three little kids growing up so far from the reservation.
Because actually our kids, I guess if you look at it technically, they're 3/4 Navajo and 1/4 White Man Apache. So according to blood quantums,
and they really should be Navajo because it's a matriarchal lineage. Even if I was 1/4 Navajo, you know, they should be my lineage. But they're listed as Apache.
Yeah. Well, that's also.
I let that happen. I shouldn't have, but I let that happen.
You shouldn't have.
I actually, I mean, I really am not really for giving them a census number. You know, I feel like maybe when they're 18, they could come back and choose whichever one they want to. If they wanted to, they could.
But on the other hand, them, you know, numbers are going to help our
I know.
tribes
See,
get more money.
he wants
fund
money.
our schools.
See that whole money thing?
White River is home. It is where my history lives. It is my inspiration and my despair. In the time that I've been gone, I feel as if I am drifting away from what I felt so close to when I moved. The kids I used to work with, the people I knew, and the feeling, that great feeling of being significant.
We have a great history here. It's really exciting to see the changing times, but we're still tied to this line of precept, you know, and that is, we know who we are. We want to hang on to who we are. We may be changing, but our roots will never change.
When I was a little kid in the city, I felt Indian. And when I come back for ceremonies, or when I find myself in an all-Apache language discussion, I feel like a white kid.
The stores, hi baby, hi.
So how can I belong? How can my kids?
How are you?
Grandma, are you okay? What are your views on Ashley having a sunrise dance?
Really?
I was like, no way, there's no way. And I was like, I can't let Ashley have a sunrise dance. And it wasn't just because, I think it was because, you know, like I saw my cousins go through it, and I just felt that I wouldn't like that much scrutiny. Tradition has always imposed expectations of me, while at the same time excluding me. I don't fully understand my native tongue, yet I'm expected to have a sunrise dance for my daughter. a coming-of-age ceremony conducted entirely in Apache. How can I embrace something I don't understand completely? And how can I expect my daughter to? Why should she?
I've been planning for Ashley ever since she was born. She's now 3 years old, and it'll be 10 years from now, and 10 years is going to go really, really fast. I know when I was a little girl, I wondered why I didn't have one, but I knew. We weren't all that well off, of course, my family, and so when my sister and I, we didn't have a sunrise dance.
You know, if the sunrise dance thing is so sacred, if it's so special, why are the poor girls not being able to have one, you know?
I have a camp dress for her too already for the next sunrise dance. I don't know if it'll fit, but it's a beautiful sunrise dance camp dress. You want to go? You want to see it?
Sure.
You're gonna see it.
Yeah,
Let me go get it.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Is that you for the sunrise dance?
it's planned already.
Here it is.
Wow.
Flashy. Here's the dress. Looks like it might be a little long, but we can make an adjustment.
Well, that's nice, the purple.
Uh-huh.
Well, it is pretty.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice, but I'm gonna leave it up to Ashley. I try to catch glimpses of today for my kids tomorrow. Pictures like this of my Uncle Dwayne, spending precious time with my children, the very same way he spent time with me my entire life. In 20 years, I want them to feel connected to this family and to this place. I don't want to pass on my doubts and insecurities to my children. So I need to find out where I see myself in all of this.
You know, you're saying something about where is the family going when there's so much uncertainty. If you look at the way the Navajos believe and the way the Apaches believe, is they say that sometimes uncertainty is what breeds aspirations, you know. And that's why, you know, like, especially for the Navajos, your dad's side there's a lot of seeking what they call a premise or entakes, thinking about things just as like a little teeny seed first, and then you just sort of ponder it. And depending on what kind of resources you've got around you, the less uncertain your future can become.
2 weeks after our last trip to White River, we found ourselves going back again. This time for a reason that's all too familiar for Apache families. Statistically for Indians, things like alcoholism, domestic abuse, suicide, and murder are higher than the national average. In America, we're the minority among the minorities, and still these afflictions are staggering. Often those harsh realities don't just hit close to home. They knock you where it hurts the most, in what should be the safest circle of all, our families. Down by the river where generations have gone to drink themselves away, my Uncle Dwayne was found brutally murdered. That hurt me inside everything I hold dear.
we all know, this is the time of the morning when we bid farewell in a time-honored tradition that has grown and evolved with the Apache people. So we ask for your reverence and your prayers, and bidding farewell, your friend, our family member, Dwayne Mark Johnson.
Here's a natural death confirmed to me, that this place that I love really is as bad as they say. With my family, my community, my people, together in this time of loss, enduring and in some way healing the Apache way, I realized I put myself outside. But I belong to all of this. It belongs to me.
In the days when the Son of Man is revealed.
I used to think that the concept of two worlds was just an excuse to justify failure. Yet I find myself, Thelma, and our children existing within two very different societies. Perhaps the only constant is family.
Moving her fingers.
This is our fourth child, Tristan. How we choose to teach our children is where real power lies. I know my children will be different from me, but I have a feeling that those differences will be the strengths we longed for.
To learn more about matters of race in your neighborhood, set your browser to pbs.org and track the educational and community action initiatives related to this series. Educators and institutions can purchase Matters of Race on videocassette or DVD by calling PBS Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS. This program was made possible in part by grants from the Fannie Mae Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, dedicated to helping build better futures for America's disadvantaged kids and families, the Nathan Cummings Foundation, and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people. This program was also made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
We are PBS.
Talk about how race matters, and how we identify ourselves, and how it is real in our public spaces. Start your own PBS program club with family and friends. Questions to get the conversation started are on pbs.org.